Hello and welcome to Sooner Sports Pad. We're live from inside Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma. And we have OU Wrestling with us in the audience tonight. I'm your host, Kaylee Jo Hommel, and beside me are Abby Williams and Britton Ross. And we're ready to talk everything Sooner sports. The Sooners need one more win to make a bowl game. We'll take a look at their next opponent for OU's last home game of the season.
And one five-star hooper has had her eyes set on OU for years. How she finally made it official, coming up.
Plus, we'll have a live in-studio interview with the two members of the OU wrestling team here later in the show.
Now, OU football is back this weekend after a bye with a lot on the line. Winning against Alabama means their 25-year bowl appearance streak would be extended to 26. Sooner fans last saw the Crimson and Cream as they took on Missouri. Oklahoma had 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter, one of them right here. But it was a Jackson Arnold fumble right here that sealed the deal and the loss. The Sooners entered as favorites, but left with a 30-23 loss. Now on to OU's next opponent, number 7, Alabama, who jumped 3 spots in the college football playoff poll this week. The Crimson Tide sits at 8-2 right now after showing Mercer no mercy on Saturday, winning 52-7. Bama has won its last 3 games by a combined score of 128-20 since losing to Tennessee. Head coach Brent Venables recognizes the talent on this team.
Incredibly explosive, and they have great playmakers everywhere. Certainly it starts, everything goes through the quarterback, but they have it at offensive line play. They're really good up front. You know, they know what they're doing. They're making everything work, and then the running backs are fantastic.
Bama is ranked 8th in scoring offense, averaging 39.5 points per game. So, Abby, what does Oklahoma defense need to do so they don't get Roll Tide rolled on Owen Field?
Well, Kaylee Jo, I'm going to keep it real with you. The OU defense has a lot on their plate with the Crimson Tide rolling in. Like you said, 8th in the nation in scoring offense. Even though Bama puts up nearly 40 points a game, the OU defense isn't to be counted out. Keep in mind, the Sooner defense allows 21 points a game, and redshirt 5th-year defensive back Woody Washington is keeping his eyes on Bama's receivers.
I think they're really good. Obviously, their guys, Ryan Williams, number 2, you know, he's the main target, but they got some pretty good receivers all around. Different guys that do different stuff, gadget guy or a guy that runs routes, but they have a pretty good receiving corps. I think this is one of the closest teams that I've been a part of, despite you know, our record. The guys come in each and every day and just put in work, and you know, we lean on each other.
Bama's defense is top 10 in scoring, allowing just under 17 points a game against a Sooner offense that's been struggling all year long. The Tide are 4th in turnover margin, having forced 24 turnovers this season, 10 fumbles, and 14 interceptions. OU has been turnover prone this year, but quarterback Jackson Arnold knows that the Sooners just need to stay focused.
Just handling it as best as we can, you know, taking it day by day, blocking out external factors, social media, just anything negative that can tear us apart inside the locker room, just kind of keeping it away. You know, ignorance is bliss, so kind of staying away from everything that can filter in and you know, drag us through the mud has been the biggest part for us.
The Sooners better be prepared to lose in primetime to Jalen Milroe in the Tide. OU has lost 5 conference matchups by an average of 17 points.
Yeah, it would be downright delusional to say OU's winning this one. Yes, Bama's had their ups and downs, but OU's just been down. I'm taking the Tide by 30 on Saturday.
Okay, hear me out. Nobody thinks that OU has a shot to win this game, which is the exact type of game OU somehow usually finds a way to win. So I think the Sooners are just going to be able to sneak out a win Saturday night under the lights.
Well, we've talked a lot of college football, but what about the boys soon to suit up in the Crimson and Cream? Sooner Sports Pad reporter Andrew West caught up with 3 high schoolers who you'll soon see on Saturdays.
Carl Albert, home of the reigning 2-time state champions and 3 future Sooners, Trenae Washington, Marcus James, and Tristan Haynes, a trio with a bond stronger than a Titan.
My relationship with them is really good. You know, I've known Trinae since we were little kids. You know, we went to the same elementary school. And then Marcus transferring over from Bishop, you know, we've really grown a good bond, you know, going to games at OU and stuff like that.
The three won't be alone in Norman as they meet up with two former teammates, a unique scenario valuable to Marcus James.
Going in campus, going in my freshman year, knowing people I've already played football with and grew up with will definitely already give me that connection and a sense of comfort since I've already played with them and built that relationship so we can just further that relationship.
If being friends and teammates isn't enough to show their strong bond, they still all have one trait in common that you just can't teach: OU DNA.
They always talk about Texas and Florida schools and stuff like that, and I just feel like being from Oklahoma, I really want to represent Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they recruited a lot of Oklahoma kids this year, so I feel like just having a lot of Oklahoma kids going out and competing against other states, I think it's going to be good for us.
It's not very often OU gets 3 players from the same high school in the same recruiting class. While these guys are excited to do that for the Sooners, it doesn't eliminate the task at hand: winning a 3rd straight state championship for Carl Albert.
It shows the work the coaches put in as well, and to look back on it, it's just been good memories back. That feeling of winning that gold ball. That's the standard here. There's state championships everywhere.
A 3rd straight state title would be the 8th in the last 9 years for the Titans. Reporting from Carl Albert High School, Andrew West, Sooner Sports Pad.
Thanks, Andrew. When we come back, we're trading the field for the hardwood. We'll talk everything OU men's and women's basketball and how they're doing so far this season. Number 9, OU women's basketball is on the court right now, taking on Wichita State on the road. The Sooners currently are beating the Shockers 74-45 halfway through the 4th. But Abby, how'd they do versus Western Carolina?
Well, Kaylee Joe, if setting a program scoring record is any indicator, then there's your answer. But that's a boring way to get to 122 points. So here's the highlights. Wednesday, field trip day at the Lloyd Noble Center, and no surprise here, Reagan Beers goes off. She puts up 27 points on the day, nearly half of what Western Carolina's entire team scored. And the Van sisters get their moment. Redshirt senior Skylar hits 15 points and freshman Zaya gets 12. Here's what Lexi Keys says about playing in front of some of their loudest fans.
Yeah, well, obviously it's very loud, but it gives us energy. That I said it before, but that's what it's all about. Like these games, this is one of my favorite games of the whole year. Yes, it's early, downfall, but that's what it's about. And we might have been able to inspire some little girl or some little boy to go on and play basketball, and that's really important to me personally. And so being a positive influence, positive role model, that's what it's all about.
And that's definitely the game to set an example for the history books. Let's go back to that record-breaking score, 122 points. Last time the Sooners got close to that, back in 2007. And greatness just gets greater for Jenny Bronczek's squad. One future Sooner finally made it official, putting the pen to paper after years of waiting.
She's known since she was 4 years old. She wanted to go to Oklahoma.
And now the wait is nearly over.
It's something I've dreamed of since I was little, so it's like a dream come true, basically.
Bethany's 5-star point guard Keziah Lofton's been committed to the Sooners since 2022, but put the pen to paper on Wednesday to make it official.
It means a lot. I have a lot of family, a lot of extended family, and I'm just thankful that they all came and supported me. So,
as the number 2 player in Oklahoma and a back-to-back state champion, Lofton had tons of interest, but she's only had eyes for one team.
We have a good relationship with Jenny and all the girls. Went on our visit and met, Reagan, who's here now. We all had a little 80s theme party, played with Zaya, so she's a freshman. Kaya, who came in, she played with her growing up. So basically she's going in with friends.
She joins former Bethany teammate Zaya Van on Coach Bronczek's squad, where her family is more than excited to watch their girl play.
I need tickets to the game. So, Coach, hear me out. Papa will need tickets to see his granddaughter play.
And now, with just a few months left at Bethany, she looks to lead the Broncos to one more state championship to make it a three-peat. Lofton says she's always known she wanted to be a Sooner, and now she's one step closer to suiting up in the crimson and cream. Reporting from Bethany, Oklahoma, Abby Williams, Sooner Sports Pad.
Thanks, Abby. Now, OU men's basketball doesn't play until Thursday as they host East Texas A&M. But Britton, I heard someone from the squad made history on Saturday.
Porter Moser's squad hosted Stetson on Saturday, and it was a close one early, but the Sooners finally settled into the game, finishing the first half on an 18-7 run. Their defense creates offense mentality led OU to forcing 23 turnovers with 31 points off of those turnovers. Freshman Jeremiah Fears had 11 points off the bench. Jalen Moore had 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting. And Dayton transfer Kobe Elvis had a game-high 24 points. And Porter Moser knows that Elvis has entered the building.
Well, it's another guy that can score and pass. I mean, I think how many assists did he have? 6? So he had 24 points, 6 assists. He had 24 points on 15 shots. You know, that's huge for us. He had 3 steals. So he did a lot of good things. It just can, and also just knowing, and the more guys that can score, they know that puts a threat on our team.
Jalen Moore is on a heater so far this season. He's had at least 20 points in all 3 games. The last player to do that was Buddy Hield back in 2015, who of course went on to win the Naismith Award for the best player in college basketball.
Now don't go anywhere because we're taking it to the mat and talking to OU wrestling. The Sooners are back from South Dakota and in the studio with us for an exclusive interview. Say hello to our interview guests all the way from McCaslin Fieldhouse, OU wrestlers Juan Mora and Gavin Sachs. Juan is a junior from California. He claimed 2 ranked wins and the heavyweight title his last time out. Gavin is a senior from Missouri. He's already won 2 matches this season. Both used to compete for North Dakota State. Abby and Britton, take it away.
First of all, thank you both so much for being here. With your home opener on Saturday, what are you guys both looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm looking forward to compete. We got a new team this year and fresh second year with Coach Kish and the following coaching staff, so we're just looking towards to compete, you know, really put it on Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It's a new school for me, so it's definitely a change, but it's an old coaching staff that I know really well, so that's really nice to have them back in my corner and coach me to the victories ahead. So.
And Gavin, as a senior, is there one last thing you want to check off the bucket list and accomplish this year?
Yeah, it's becoming an All-American or national champ, and those things have been in my mind since I've been a kid, but you know, just having those coaches again in my corner, I feel like it's set me up for the best opportunity to do that.
So you guys were teammates back in North Dakota State. What was it like coming all the way from there to Oklahoma?
Well, yeah, me and Gavin for sure. We were teammates, if not, you know, really good, close friends, and no change is always easy, but coming to Oklahoma has been really great so far. I know during the process they spoke a lot about community and being a part here and being able to experience firsthand. It's like no other, you know.
Yeah, it was a big change for me coming from the cold and all that stuff. So I know when I made the trip down here, it was right away. I was so excited to get down here, get back with these coaches, and left all my jackets at my mom and dad's house. I figured I don't have to use them that much while down here. So it's just been a great change. Back with my old teammates, Juan, you got Mannix, and you got DJ Parker, and you know, making new connections, making a new family with all these freshmen, sophomores, and other seniors with me. So it's really nice to get those connections.
Juan, you touched on it just a second ago. What's been your favorite thing about OU since you've been here?
My favorite thing's got to be for sure the facilities. Facilities for sure. Coming from NDSU, we had great facilities there, don't get me wrong. But coming here and they talk about that 1% difference, and that's what it's all about here. The facilities, to the support staffs, to our academics, to everything. The community is really big here again.
And for both of you, what is it like competing both as a team and as an individual?
Yeah, you know, competing as a team, that's really why I love wrestling. It's like both things, competing as a team and as an individual. So a lot of things, honestly, that you do come down to yourself, and what you do to better yourself will better the team. And going into my future as a Marine, it's really like struck home to me, and those are things that just go in my mind before match. I'm like, what would a Marine do? A Marine isn't just one person. He's one person for everybody. So that's one of the great things I love about wrestling.
Yeah, I agree with Gavin. Competing as a team is definitely as important, but it's real lenient as competing as an individual. You know, my success as an individual plays a big role in where we go as a team, and that comes with how I carry myself on and off the mat. There's pros and cons with everything, so it's important to understand the both.
Well, thank you both so much for being here tonight, and good luck on the rest of your season and your home opener.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks again, Juan and Gavin. OU Wrestling is back on the mat this Saturday, where they're hosting Wyoming in their home opener at 1:30 p.m. We have so many other Sooner sports to get to when we come back. We'll talk 2 signing classes scoring big and continue with the guys in the Sooner singlets scoring big too. I'm now with our audience, and it's time for y'all to get asked the questions. Now, the search for a new offensive coordinator is ongoing, but if you were Joe Constiglione, who would you have your eyes on? I'm going to go first to former Sooner Sports Pad producer.
I'm going to go with Dan Mullen. Didn't have that much success at Florida as a head coach, but good offensive mind. I think he could really turn the offense around and develop one of those quarterbacks.
Alrighty, what about over here?
Let me consult the great mind of Britain for a second. He says Buster Faulkner because he's going to bring the Sooners a win. Isn't that right, Britain? Yes, sir.
Well, the wrestling fun isn't over yet because OU Wrestling is having a hot start to their season. We talked earlier, number 21 OU Wrestling is back home after several strong performances at the Daktronics Invite. Juan, he's now back in our audience along with Barrick Jordan, KJ Evans, and Landon Sommer, won the title in their respective brackets for a combined 12-0 record, and they're back against Wyoming Saturday.
Well, let's keep the wins going, but with a signing class. Staying on the mat, OU Gymnastics signed the #1 2025 recruiting class in the nation. Four new gymnasts joined the squad. Mackenzie Estep, Ella Murphy, Camilla Pollack, and Blakely Roten are Coach Kindler's newest additions. As far as the current team goes, their season opens in Nashville January 4th at the Music City Collegiate Championship, where they take on Auburn, BYU, and Nebraska.
And I'm going to stick with the signing classes because OU softball has the #1 recruiting class in the country as well. And a class of only 6 signees, that's still good enough for the Sooners to earn that top spot. They were already the best team in the nation, then they're still dominating their opponents, playing 8 fall ball games this fall, 3 against themselves in an inter-squad scrimmage, and 5 games against other teams. And the only team to score on Oklahoma was Oklahoma, shutting out all other opponents.
Things are heating up in the studio because when we come back, Abby and Britton will go head-to-head, and our audience will even get in on the action. It's almost time for Face Off. It's now time for Face Off. Our 2 anchors will face off, debating everything Sooner sports, and our audience will choose a winner. Britton is in the lead after last week, so it's time to see if Abby can tie it up. Now, we normally start with football MVPs, but this week, let's start with something new and talk about somebody new. Abby, what basketball newcomer is making their mark?
Well, we can't stop talking about her. It's got to be Oregon State transfer Reagan Beers. She averages 24.7 points a game and was even AP Player of the Week last week. She's the first Sooner in 16 seasons to have back-to-back games with at least 20 points and 14 rebounds.
I'm going to go with the scariest freshman on the court, Jeremiah Fears. He had 11 points in 19 minutes coming off the bench against Stetson. And so far this year, he's averaging 14 points on 45% shooting. And if he keeps playing this way, it's going to be hard for Porter Mosher to keep him out of the starting rotation.
Well, they say there is no I in team for a reason. So from a player to the players, which Sooner squad is on fire right now?
Kaylee Jo, I'm going to stick with men's hoops because they're on a revenge tour this season. After Porter Mosher said they got snubbed from the NCAA tournament last year, they've started out 3-0, beating their opponents by an average of 23 points. All of the new faces have seemed to have found their rhythm.
Well, Britton, you just keep making the wrong choice here. OU women's basketball literally scored double their opponents on Wednesday and more. Yes, both teams are undefeated, but one's top 10 in the AP poll and the other is unranked. It's pretty hard to argue with the rankings, which OU men's basketball may never find themselves in.
Now, those teams are showing off, but we can't forget about the players showing off in the pros. Abby, who is your pick for Sooner in the pros this week?
Well, Kaylee Jo, we got a whole squad of Sooner magic in the Mile High City. Sunday, the Broncos hosted the Falcons, and Marvin Mims Jr., bet Sooner fans miss that guy, gets his first touchdown of the season. But the Sooner magic isn't done yet. Nick Bonito gets his sack. He had 2 of those on Sunday. And the Broncos get the win 38-6.
Well, how about them Oh, wait, never mind. Joe Mixon scored again. The former Sooner running back went off for 109 yards with 3 touchdowns in Jerry World in primetime on Monday night. He single-handedly outscored the Dallas Cowboys as the Texans won 38-10, and they're on top of the AFC South and host the Titans this Sunday.
Well, I'm going to be watching for my high school quarterback, Jalen Milroe, to take Owen Field and see if he can succeed when taking on the Sooners. But Britton, what are you watching out for?
Well, I'm going to watch for OU football with shades of the 2014 Sugar Bowl. No one believes in this football team, but I believe in Brent Venables. I think OU football is going to find a way to sneak out a win over the Crimson Tide.
We got a homer over here. Britton, let's be realistic. OU is not getting any more wins this season. That 25-year bowl game streak is getting snapped. They're not winning another one.
Alrighty, audience, you know what to do. If you think Britton is our face-off winner, make some noise. Okay, pretty good, but if you think it was Abby, let me hear you. No! Wow, it is not even close this week. Abby's our face-off winner tonight. Thanks so much for watching Sooner Sports Pad. For Abby Williams and Britton Ross, I'm Kaylee Jo Hummel. Have a great rest of your night.